bodywork, which made it look kind of like a big puffy bodybuilder.
Huge.
Absolute driving heaven. Unless you got killed by it. Hey, my name is Andy, and today we're going to be looking at the greatest 12 supercars from the early 2000s. Let's go. So to kick this absolutely outrageous list off, we start with the Lamborghini Murcialago from 2001. Now, the Murcialago needs no introduction. It is a Lamborghini icon, especially because it was the last Lamborghini to feature its glorious V12, which traced its DNA all the way back to the Lamborghini Miura. It was also one of the first cars that Audi had a hand in producing. They tried to bring some sense and usability to the otherwise mad Raging Bull, and this is what they produced. Absolute madness on its best behavior. Next up, we've got the Pagani Zonda C12S from 2002. This car was absolutely insane. The original Zonda was released in '99 and only featured a 6-liter V12, where the C12S had a 6.9-liter V12 Mercedes engine. This thing sounded absolutely insane. Take a listen. Unbelievable. This Pagani was known for its outrageous styling and absolutely intoxicating exhaust note. The Pagani Zonda C12S was a phenomenal car. Next up, we've got the Ferrari Enzo, which was also introduced in 2002. Bearing the name of Enzo Ferrari himself, this car had a lot to live up to. The Enzo featured a 6-liter V12 and was developed with Michael Schumacher. It used plenty of technology from his Formula One car. At the time, it was a huge leap forward for Ferrari and was the absolute benchmark for cars to come. Next up, we've got the Porsche Carrera GT from 2003. This car needs no introduction and is an absolute monster. It's Porsche's very own V10 engine crammed into the middle of the car rather than hanging out the back. That, compared with a carbon fiber tub and a 6-speed manual, made this car absolute driving heaven. Unless you got killed by it, which also was a possibility because this car had no driving aids. Not to mention the glorious sound from that Porsche developed V10. This car was an absolute spaceship. There's no other word for it. It was a spaceship. Next up, we've got the Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren, also from 2003. This is right alongside the Porsche Carrera GT when it comes to spaceships, with its doors that open up like, I don't know what they're called, but they open up like that. Butterfly doors, I think. Featuring butterfly doors, and yes, butterfly doors because they're hinged at the bottom and at the top, just like the McLaren F1. The whole bonnet was carbon fiber, the doors were ultra lightweight, and this Mercedes, co-developed with McLaren, had an enormous supercharged V8. I remember when Jeremy Clarkson raced this car against Hammond and May across Europe. This thing is a continent destroyer, it is a pin-up poster, and it is a glorious car. The Mercedes SLR was awesome. Next up on the list, we have the Ford GT. At the time, this was the most amazing car America had produced, at least in my opinion. It used a Detroit V8 lifted from one of their trucks with a great big supercharger slapped in there and just had looks to die for. They had taken the original GT40 design, blown it up a little bit, but they had not messed with its overall proportions. The only problem with this car was its doors. They were suicide doors, not in the sense that they open like suicide doors. They were suicide doors because they would literally take your head off. This Ford GT was truly an awesome car. Jeremy Clarkson had one, Doug DeMuro has one, and it is surely set to go up in value. Next up, we've got the Bugatti Veyron 16-4 from 2005. Now, this car is a true game changer and ushered in an entirely new era of hypercar. With 1001 horsepower, this car was mind-bogglingly fast. No car up until that point was that ridiculous, featuring a 16-cylinder quad turbocharged engine, which is still mental even to this day. However, this car came out in 2005. What a truly remarkable car. Next up, we've got the Koenigsegg CCX from 2006. The Koenigsegg CCX is one of my all-time favorite cars. The 4.7-liter supercharged V8 in the CCX produced an eye-watering 806 horsepower. The Koenigsegg CCX was probably most famously known for its dihedral something or other doors. It is such a unique design that sets Koenigsegg apart from all other manufacturers. Next up, we've got the Audi R8, which also debuted in 2006. The Audi R8 was the first true flagship supercar from Audi. Originally, it had a 4.2-liter V8 with the option for a 6-speed manual, which is the one you should absolutely have got, or a single clutch robotized semi-automatic or some bullshit like that. That one you should avoid. The coolest thing is the design did not change very much from the concept scene in iRobot with Will Smith to the actual production version. They look very similar. This car was also Tony Stark's car from Iron Man. In fact, I actually prefer this generation of Audi R8. I think the styling is a lot nicer, and I think that it sounds a lot greater than the new R8s. So that is what I would pick, but what would you pick? Let me know in the comments below. Next up, we've got the Aston Martin DBS from 2008. The Aston Martin DBS was a grand touring car for gentlemen and ladies, but this car had a naturally aspirated V12, 6-speed manual transmission, and was absolutely awesome to look at. It had this muscular, brutish appearance and really built upon what the Aston Martin DB9 had laid down. But my God, if you had a DB9 or a DBS parked right in front of you, I know which car you'd pick every time. It's the DBS. The Aston Martin DBS is one of my favorite cars, especially in Casino Royale Grey, and I think that it is an all-time great touring car. Next up, we've got another Aston Martin, the Aston Martin 177, released in 2009. The Aston Martin 177 was an ultra-limited, ultra-powerful 2-seater Grand Tourer with an incredible 750 horsepower coming from its 7.3-liter naturally aspirated V12. 7.3 liters of displacement is outrageous and will never be found in cars today. It also featured Formula One style pushrod suspension, cross bracing, was ultra lightweight, absolutely glorious to look at, and was made entirely of carbon fiber. It is very rare that we will see cars like this today because of all the new emissions and regulations that strangle them. As limited as this car was, it is truly one of the greatest cars from the early 2000s. Now that leaves us with just one more car from this era, which is the Mercedes SL65 AMG Black Series, released in 2009. The SL65 AMG was already a bonkers car, but when they introduced the Black Series, they had taken that absolute madness, ripped the dial off, and went, fuck it, let's go crazy. This is one of the most insane cars from this era. The car featured a ridiculous twin turbocharged V12 with over 1,000 Newton meters of torque. Not only would it consume its tires in a matter of minutes, it also featured enormous bodywork, which made it look kind of like a big puffy bodybuilder. Huge. In truth, I absolutely love the way that this car looks. It is one of my favorite cars of all time. The SL65 AMG Black Series stands as an achievement for what people can do when all they focus on is sheer lunacy, and I absolutely love it. Anyway, that's about it from me today. Which early 2000s car is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe for more content just like this, and I'll see you guys in the next video.